And on federal funding, if there is if the president does pull federal funding from New York City and New York State, obviously you guys are facing a massive budget deficit. What are your conversations like? Who are you having these conversations with? Are you guys looking at legal options? Are you guys preparing ahead of time?
We are preparing for every single eventuality. And what that requires is a whole of government approach. And it also requires ensuring that you have a law department that is prepared for something like that. And that is a large part of why we selected Steve Banks as our nominee for Corporations Counsel, as someone who is incredibly skilled, fluent, and capable of taking on any potential hypothetical in this moment.
So, Mayor, I wanted to ask you, today's announcement is a little bit about your affordability agenda. Yesterday in Albany, you had a different take on a different part of the affordability agenda, which was Governor Hochul's proposal to lower auto insurance rates. And one of the big foundations of that proposal is to reduce the compensation that people who've been seriously injured by car drivers would receive, as well as making it cheaper to own auto insurance, thereby driving more people to get cars and drive, which is a different side of your affordability agenda because there'd be more congestion, more road violence, more damage to roads, etc. So how do you square that? Why would you support something that would encourage more driving and deprive injured people of compensation?
So what I will support is measures that will reduce the cost of living across this city, and I will also do so in tandem with a vision that makes this a more livable city. And what we found time and time again is that we have to make public transit the most convenient, the most affordable, the most rational option that New Yorkers can take. And that is, in many ways, a central part of what I've tasked my DOT in doing in trying to make our streets the envy of the world.
Yeah, but follow up on that, though, because if you make driving less expensive, then that changes the equation for many people who would choose transit.
I think for a lot of New Yorkers, it's not just a question of cost, it's also a question of time. And for me, the reason that I was supportive of Governor Hochul's actions to start to reduce auto insurance rates is that this is another way in which New Yorkers are being pushed out of the city. The focus will always be, how do we make it as easy as possible to get around this city, as cheap as possible, and there's no competition with public transit.
Sir, if the president cuts funding to sanctuary cities, as he's threatened to do, what would the impact be on New York City specifically? What is at risk for us?
Any cut in funding would have a significant impact on the city's ability to not only fulfill the budget that it has today, but also to fulfill an agenda that would ensure that more New Yorkers can afford to stay in this city. And I am proud of the team that we have ready at the hand to be able to respond to these kinds of threats so that we are not simply on the defensive of the little that New Yorkers are given in this moment, but frankly, advancing a larger agenda as well.
In terms of the dollar amount, you don't have a number of that.
I think it's hard to say a dollar amount in a moment such as this, but we take these kinds of threats seriously, and we also will not bargain with our values or our laws.